Welcome to our personal identity lecture. Most college students would probably say they know themselves pretty well. We all have our own thoughts and ideas about who we are, and when you put them all together, you get what we call our identity, or how we see ourselves, also known as our self-concept. By digging into these personal ideas, you can really get a better handle on who you are, including how you feel about yourself or your self esteem. What we think about ourselves can really affect how we see and understand the world. Figuring out who we are is a complex process influenced by many things. It's hard to say exactly how much each experience shapes our identity. There are countless factors at play. Some big ones that do tend to affect most people: family background, early experiences with gender and sexuality, race, ethnicity, how religious you may be, and the groups you belong to all play a part in this. Plus, how others react to your identity can shape how you see and express it in the future. One of the first things that shapes how we see ourselves in our family and how we connect with them when we are young. As we start to understand ourselves as someone's son or daughter or grandson, grandkid, a sibling, or even a cousin, we start to figure out where we fit in with all of these people that are around us. Our family plays a big role in shaping that, shaping how we think and how we feel. It really helps play a big role of how we feel and think about ourselves. We learn and test out different ways of being us based on how our family reacts to us in our intentions with them. Family plays a big role in shaping how we see ourselves, starting right from when we're born. Think about those "it's a boy, it's a girl" announcements that kick off a lifetime of gender expectations. Because our culture puts such a spotlight on our biological sex, many of us see it as a big part of who we are. But here's the thing: sex and gender are different. Gender is more about how we are taught to act as either masculine or feminine or somewhere in between. From the get go, we learn what is expected of us based on our gender. Remember those phrases like "boys don't cry" or "girls don't throw well"? These are all part of how we learn to fit into these roles. Many people see themselves in terms of their race or ethnicity. So, especially when they're surrounded by others who look, speak, and act like them. If you're in a place where most people share your background, you might not think much about your race or ethnicity. But for those who stand out because of how they look or how they act, these aspects of their heritage become a big part of how they see themselves. Religion can be a tricky thing for a lot of people. If it's something that shapes by years of learning, watching others, and just being aware of what's going on around you. Even if you're not really into any aspect of religion, it can still have a big impact on how you see yourself, sometimes in ways you might not even expect. Whether you're super spiritual or not into it at all, most of us end up thinking about ourselves in relation to religion in three main ways. First, there's our religious identity, which is based on whether we follow a particular religion or not. Then there's the question of how we fit into our local culture. This is often depends on sort of whether we practice the religion we are is most common where we live. And finally, there are ways to see ourselves in terms of how religious we are. This is all about how much we actually practice our religion, if we have one. Besides things like age or where you come from, the groups you're part of can also shape how you see yourself. This can be anything from clubs, teams, to Greek life or other campus groups. Social identity theories tell us that being a part of these groups can really affect how we define ourselves. We can compare ourselves to people in other groups. This internal conflict could impact the student's self perception by creating a sense of sort of ambiguity and confusion about their identity. They may struggle to define themselves in relationships to these conflicting group members, which could lead to feelings of insecurity or even an identity crisis. In terms of behavior, this can manifest in many ways. The student may prioritize one group over the other, leading to, differential investments of time. And this can affect each activity. Scholars often talk about how we try on different social identities as we try to figure out who we are. When we act out a role, we pay attention to how others react to see if we're fitting in or meeting our own standards. There's a sociologist, Charles Cooley, called this the looking glass self, where we use others' reactions as a mirror to understand how we are coming across. Just like we look in a mirror to see how we look the way we want to look physically, we also pay attention to how people react to us to understand how we are presented. The Johari window, Johari window is a concept developed by psychologists lived in Ingram to describe the process of discovering new things about oneself through interactions with others. The Johari window is a visual representation of four main areas of self-knowledge. The open quadrant contains things about ourselves that we know and that others also know. This can include attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors that we openly express. For example, being a proud vegan or openly sharing their aspects of their identity with others. Two, the blind quadrant includes things about ourselves that we are unaware of, but that others can see. For instance, not realizing your talent for drawing, but others recognize how good of an artist you are. The hidden quadrant contains things about ourselves that we know, but others do not know. This can include secrets or private information. This could be things like your sexual orientation, the gender you feel that you are, or even secrets from your parents. The unknown quadrant represents aspects of ourselves that neither we nor others are aware of. These aspects may never be discovered or may never be known over time. For example, imagine someone makes surprising choices in a romantic partner based on instincts, which even they don't fully understand. The Johari window helps us understand the complexities of self identity and how our interactions with others can lead to new discoveries of ourselves.